Keepie Uppies with Richie and Tots.
So I was going to ask you then, Richie, what about Sunday? Give us the lowdown. What a success! Some turnout as well, and
It really was. It was
just brilliant.
it was a roaring success. It's the biggest event that the club has ever hosted, and the man behind it all was Kieran Mitchell, the new club secretary. He's took it to a new level. In fairness to him, everything he put his hand to, from the plans and the brochures that were sent out to the clubs, right down to the finest of details on the day. He had it all bases covered. The feedback from all the clubs has been fantastic, and then the interaction and having the McNally family there was fantastic. Bernie and Noel, Natalie's parents, took great joy in the day. They were overwhelmed by how it was so well received, so well attended. So very proud as chairman of the club for what we've done, but delighted for Kieran because the effort he put in and the overall outcome was fantastic. They're still topping up the money raised for Women's Aid, which is obviously the charity it was for, and can't speak highly enough of the commitment from local businesses, the sponsors, that the money and the outcry of goodwill that came towards the tournament and during the tournament and still after the tournament is special. It's definitely one of the biggest days I've experienced, as a volunteer. I took a lot of joy from it myself individually, personally, but again, it made a lot of the Oxford doers and the Oxford Sunnyside massive, put massive smiles on their faces. Saying our outreach in the community has been ever growing since we sort of changed our committee, or the committee took a new direction, and that was probably the standout memory to date. And obviously, what we learned from it is that what we're capable of when we all come together. So I can't say anything more about it. It was just an absolutely roaring success, absolutely fantastic day. I'm actually still a little bit burnt out from the weekend because it was emotional as well as physically enduring, but again, all for the best causes.
No, it was just a wonderful event. Obviously, a lot of people will be aware of sort of the reason behind it, but for those people that maybe don't know about or maybe have heard about what sadly happened, Natalie, can you kind of give us those people a bit of a lowdown?
The charity was Women's Aid, and obviously it was the Natalie McNally tournament. So Natalie unfortunately lost her life due to a horrific tragedy, which involved violence was put upon her by an estranged partner. Again, without going into the gory details, it was well documented. But as they say, she was in her own house. She was, these things shouldn't happen, shouldn't be allowed to happen. And these, the victims, have to be supported, and obviously justice has to be brought to the ones that have created the crime. So that's still an ongoing process. But what we were doing is raising awareness, and the mission and the message behind the tournament was a celebration of Natalie's life. And that was very much how it was portrayed on the day. It was to remember her and celebrate her life, but also then make the notable awareness of Women's Aid and the charity and what they stand for and what they can offer people that have been in similar situations.
Yeah, and as you said, it was just fantastic. Me and I took Lily down, my 3-year-old, and she loved it. Just the whole atmosphere around it, just real community feel, and you had the girls' tournament over by the 4G pitch, and then there was the boys' tournament and the grass pitch, and I know maybe the weather wasn't great for periods, but that didn't really matter. It was just about the day, about as you said, celebrating her life.
Didn't deflect from the day at all. No, and I said
no.
The ethos of it, or the mantra of it, was building a legacy. So this is something that the club is right behind. Obviously, the McNally family are embedded in the club, so it's all very close to our hearts. And we know individuals who've been traumatized by the whole outcome, and will live with that their whole lives. So if the club can do small things to put a smile back on their faces and again celebrate the life that Natalie had and what she stood for, then that's a great thing. But with over 500 kids coming
You
to
were
play the
night as
football,
well.
that was, through the medium of football, it's great what you can achieve. 500 kids, 32 different teams, boys and girls, and they all went away with football smiles. And as I said, the feedback's been massive. And to connect that to the beautiful person that Natalie was and in her memory, again, it's credit to all involved.
And a couple of clubs I was chatting to, they were just so impressed with, you kind of touched on it there, just how well it was organised, and the whole branding of the event, just how it was well, or even the referees. You had two sets of referees coming, and it was just brilliant. And the couple of ones I was speaking to were just saying how they were coming back next year, and it was one of the best tournaments that they'd attended, which says it all really. And as you said, it's down to all the doers. You've done a wee shout out to Kieran Mitchell,
Yeah.
and obviously you played a huge part as well. Any other people you want to shout out
I'd
to,
say
or
there's everybody that was on the ground on the day. I mean, even you're talking about the referees there, like the Lisburn League, they offered their referees free of charge to the tournament, and the tournament went off so well. There was two different batches of referees came over the day. Again, just people seeing, to be part of that was great. But the people who were on the ground know who they are, and they're delighted with what happened without naming individuals. But for me, the whole thing happened. Kieran's the shy and retiring one that won't take the credit for it. So I want to put an emphasis on all that Kieran done and all that went behind it. But everybody else on the ground, the doers know who the doers are, and they're the ones that will keep the thing moving forward.
bring on next year? And what about? Do you know what the amount is that we've raised so far? And of course, you'll have to share. We'll get sharing that
We will
link
share it once
on
it's out.
Twitter.
I do know Women's Aid are very, without the final top total being put together. Women's Aid are delighted, So again, once it's out there, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but I know it's significantly more than what Women's Aid were sort of anticipating or expecting. And again, on the day, the footfall at the club, the generosity of people on the day, filling buckets, it was great. So once that's released, we'll be sure to celebrate it.
Super duper. And to keep on the girls topic, what about your girls team? Your season just recently
Yeah,
finished, and you finished second in the development league. So super first season. Any highlights and any wee shout outs you want to make to anybody in particular?
absolutely fantastic. I'm proud as punch of the girls and all they've achieved. I keep calling them girls. Obviously, it's the senior ladies. We actually have a presentation night this Friday night in the Seagull. So we're treating them to a night like a buffet, and obviously put out a few awards, etc. To celebrate the inaugural season of the ladies, the first ever ladies senior team at Oxford Sunnyside. It was from start to finish. It was a delight. It was a highlight. Seeing the younger girls sort of mature, seeing the more mature girls kind of taking leadership and educating the younger girls, and the whole camaraderie when things got tough. It was great to see people's personalities grow and develop, and obviously they played some damn good football as well. So being able to coach them and for them to be coachable was a great highlight for me. And again, implementing stuff in training and seeing it being played out and benefiting from it. We also had a bit of mentoring from Paul Matchett, who is a coach at Anna United. I'm sure you're aware of Paul. He's an IFA mentor, so the IFA sort of the NIWFA has sent down one of the guys to oversee one of our games, and they were very impressed. And on the back of that, they'd sent Paul down to sort of liaise with me and work with me over the numerous weeks. We're actually still just playing loose ends together, just but drawing out, like a 4 week training schedule and implementing, different patterns of play, looking at phased play, looking at principles of play, principles of attacking, principles of defending. So I'm getting educated myself as a coach as well as coaching the ladies. So it's been a massive movement. It's been a massive success, and I'm really excited for the future for next season. We're still recruiting. We have a young squad, and they're keen as mustard to kick on. We're expecting to be accepted into the league proper. Again, there's talk of reforming the leagues. I know last year there was 6 leagues and then the development league. So how that's going to change, I'm not sure. But looking forward to playing more games, being involved in more competitions next year, and growing the squad, growing the process, and from the girls right to the senior ladies. We're busting at the seams. So fantastic season. Can't wait to go again, but also enjoying the small break before we rally the troops again for pre-season. It'll come around very, very quick.
Happy days, exciting times ahead. And our first time, I know we're making it's almost turned into an Oxford Sunnyside podcast here, but well. Our first played 4-1-4. Tell us a wee bit about the whole. Obviously, it's done and dusted now. Clearly, because we're 4 games into intermediate A season, and Coke had their first game in Premier Intermediate, but it wasn't sorted. Is that right? Until recently, sort of the
11th hour, which was the crazy carry on. Because you had the Niffle League not knowing what to do. You had the Mid Ulster League not knowing what to do, who was playing where. Was teams getting relegated from Intermediate A if Oxford were going out, or were teams staying in? The Niffle League didn't know who's were going to play in what fixtures. But that aside, eventually it came around, and the decision was that the Coke will be promoted and we will stay in Intermediate A. So it is what it is. I mean, it's, in fairness, you would rather make the achievement on the field, rather than getting into the Premier Intermediate League via a default type of thing. So this season, Oxford will right the wrongs. Hopefully push for the league again, and achieve that next step via the playoffs. So we were just kind of spectators in the background, letting the IFA and the other leagues kind of work out the tribunal, or whatever, the appeal, whatever you want to call it. And we just kind of kicked on. So we were, for a small period before the season started, we were kind of riding 2 horses, expecting to, if we were to be in the Premier Intermediate, and if we were going to be Intermediate A. So it was a kind of a small strain before the season started, but my goodness, now the season started, it's on the field we're guns blazing, and again off the field we're continuing to make them huge steps. So all in all, it's positive for the club. We know that we're capable, and we know that the next step isn't as big a step as maybe we first thought.
Yeah, it's just a pity they just couldn't have made the decision,
Yeah, exactly.
a few months ago.
Exactly.
But anyway, it's just crazy, and it must have been a bit of a nightmare as well for Coke, I'm sure, because they're wondering, well, do we prepare for Premier Intermediate, and there might be players that they were trying to sign who maybe didn't want to sign, or would only assign if they're playing in the Premier Intermediate. It just messes up everybody, to be honest. But anyway, at least it's sorted now.
No, thankfully.
And the seniors and ladies look as if they're on the way up.
Yeah, no, the senior ladies, again, they've their seasons ended. The senior men have took over. So I'm a busy man. You get a small break before you're back at it, But and now the girls season starts the end of September. Again, new movement for the girls, where the girls are actually going to play the football this year in the Lisburn League. So it's kind of falls in line with playing football games on a Sunday, which is similar to the senior ladies. So there's continuity there, So a bit of a change, a bit of a merry-go-round, but the new season's underway. I'm around to go.
Happy days. Speaking of change, big change for one of our ex-guests who caught up with Darren Mullen, and this will be the first summer in a while for him where he's had a clean break completely, no pre-season, no chasing after players or being tortured on his own mobile by who was it? Who's George Weah's nephew trying to sign for Newry and trying to get trials. So we caught up with him. I'll post in the questions to you that I gave to Darren, and I also quizzed him about Liverpool because he's a big Liverpool fan and about the summer recruitment. But I'm sure he's enjoying the break, and I'm sure can you remember your first summer where you'd kind of taken a break?
Yeah, well, actually,
it must have been strange. It must have been nice at the same time.
It was very strange, but it was needed. I'm sure Darren, as I said, 10 years of commitment, is massive. It's all consuming, as we've talked about numerous times before. Family suffers, friendships suffer just because you're knee deep type of thing. But again, what I done in my sabbatical, I took up a new sport. I went cycling and ended up helping start and run a cycling club. So I kind of got out of the kitchen and into the saucepan or whatever that saying is. But yeah, you don't miss it initially, but then whenever it's all it's soon the hankering to get involved again wasn't too far away. So I know that I've seen recently Darren is raising money for the hospice and has offered his services to coach any teams and of any age groups as well, just with the thought of a donation towards the hospice for his services. So again, obviously football's in his blood and it's an outlay for him, and obviously he's playing to his strengths and raising money that way. So yeah, but the managerial chaos, I'm sure he's glad of the break, but I've no doubt in my mind he's a young man, and I'm sure we'll see him back involved in the game at a level in the future. But I wish him all the best.
Yeah, really nice fella. Really enjoyed that podcast.
Yeah, big time. One of the favorites.
When was that? Was that a year or two ago?
Would have been over a year ago.
It's been about 18 months. Yeah. So I think they were in the championship at that stage. But yeah, nice fella. Helps obviously he's a Liverpool fan, but
not too many on this.
Yeah, but he said hopefully. So I quizzed him as well about our summer recruitment, but I think we might be getting a midfielder in the next day or two. The Bayern Munich Dutch midfielder.
You can pronounce his name. Gravenberch, is it?
Yeah, I think that's it. So it looks as if there's a strong possibility they might get him in. But
I'm hearing whispers the Saudis are sniffing around Gomez and Konate. Crazy carry on. Crazy carry on.
Just leave us alone.
Just leave us alone.
I'll let them take Gomez, to be fair, but although in saying that we're a bit short in centre backs now, Van Dijk's suspending, he might get another ban or two for his rude words to the referee.
Did you see the tackle? Do you think it was a red card?
It was when I was watching the match, I thought he clearly got the ball. I was shocked actually the referee gave the free kick, and then I was gobsmacked when the red card was brought out. But then I suppose when you look at it, he did swipe the player's ankle to get to the ball. But it was a genuine attempt for me to try and get the ball. I think I just thought red was a bit harsh, but I suppose if the referee's following the rules, then he has to give him a red card. So, and I think that's why VAR couldn't intervene, because he was just basically following the rules. Yeah. So technically he was correct, and
well, we'll see what we're made of. See what strength and depth we have.
Well, we played better with 10 men.
That's crazy, isn't it?
We were all over the place. Absolutely all over the place up to that point. And Trent then had to play as a right back because he couldn't play in this inverted right back role. So yeah, we
We went back to
were
basics
probably
and it worked.
defensively better set up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but yeah, for 80 minutes, yeah, we were chasing shadows to be honest. But anyway, we got the 3 points, which is the main thing. And we were talking about our own first team, 4 wins out of 4, and in intermediate B, leading the way is Portadown BBOB. 4 wins from 4 as well. Dean, you would have played against
Bunting, as we called him.
Dean Bunting back.
Yeah.
What's his? What do you call him? What's his nickname?
Bunty, as I always remember him. Hell of a...
So we caught up with him as well. Asked him a few questions, and but yeah, they've taken intermediate B by storm. They won Mid Ulster Division 1 last year.
Yeah.
And looks as if Dean Bunting's going to be taking Portadown BBOB, the intermediate A, if they keep going the way they've started. So, and he was a good player. Were you in his age group, Richie?
Dean played against me at underage with Portadown boys. I think he played alongside Peter McCann in that team. I might well be wrong, and there's no doubt in my mind if he did, then he would have played in the Milk Cup. But we did have a few tussles. I'm sure you had a few tussles with him when he was playing for Hanover in intermediate B.
Yeah, he's a bit left foot.
Yeah, I was a clever footballer, low centre of gravity, again, bit of a warrior, but I was a very good footballer. Him and Glenn Trainer and boys like that would have played. Yeah, no, that Alka player, just aggressive and gifted, very very good, and obviously he's bringing his talents to the managerial game. He's very ambitious with Portadown BBOB, and I did hear him saying that once he took the role, his duty, his desire was to immediately right the wrongs of the club and get them into intermediate football again. So, fair play.
Yeah, onwards and upwards. Yeah, absolute wand of a left foot.
We love the wands
from memory. Yeah. So he's doing a great job there. And I also asked him about his ultimate five-a-side. So that's an interesting one. It's probably one of the best ultimate five-a-sides teams that we've had, to be honest. The couple of players that he put together, I'm just thinking you just would not get a kick. So you must listen to that one. So that was Dean Bunting that we caught up with. And then another person we caught up with, another Liverpool fan, Cleary Celtic, Skipperoo, old Benny Coulter. And I posed an interesting question. I won't give you the answer because I don't want to spoil the fun, but I asked him, which would he prefer, Down beating Armagh in the All-Ireland final or Liverpool beating Manchester United in the European Cup final?
Well, I'm sure anybody who knows him would know the answer immediately.
Which one are you going for?
I'm going to hold my tongue. I'm going to hold my tongue and let it play out. I stitch it together here and let it play out.
Okay. There was no mess about. He didn't even. It wasn't like, it's it's no. This is the answer. So I wonder which one it could be. I know which one I'd pick. It would be Liverpool beating Man United all day long. For their 7 now. We're kind of losing count now. 7, is it?
I think it is. Great.
Brilliant. But so yeah, they had a great win over Coal Island Athletic. They won the Gerald Kennedy Cup there on Friday night, beat them 4-0.
And again,
very impressive.
No goats toe either of the two teams, so it's great to see.
So yeah, great win for them. And the last people that we caught up with, and you've had a chat with them, I think, during the playoff game, I think it was.
Yeah, Knockgrammar
Park. Mentioned.
Yeah, I was talking to him before the Rathfarnham game.
I4 Sport NI, you're doing some great work. You talk about sort of showcasing the local game. They're doing a great job of that. It's they're out and about everywhere, and obviously captured that huge moment in that playoff game. You know, you've seen both sides of it. Coke just absolutely over the moon with that last minute winner, and then the look of despair on Peter McCann's face when they scored. You know, but yeah, doing great work, aren't
It's
they?
fantastic. As he says himself, you know, he's seen that there's a gap in the market for celebrating, you know, football at that level, and we've highlighted it also. You know, the standard is very very good and deserves to be highlighted and celebrated. So, no, doing fantastic things. And again, a lover of the game, obviously doing it for the love of it, and obviously passionate about the media that he's using. So, no, best of luck to him. Long may it continue.
Yeah, that's it. Because everybody keeps banging on about the Irish League, which is great, but ultimately the likes of intermediate football and junior football as well is kind of the bedrock for
Well,
the Irish
as
League.
you say,
On some,
you've the likes of Peter McCann there, who played at the Irish League. He's maybe took a step down, but his caliber is highlighted and captured on camera. And then you have some of the shooting stars, some of the young fellas coming through the ranks at a young age who eventually end up in Irish League. You know, they're playing intermediate football. Chrissy Lavery's one who comes to mind. You know, who we played with, stepped from intermediate into Irish League at a stride. So there'll be new stories written, you know, new stars born, and for them guys to capture that on camera and have it forever in the archives is fantastic.
and then you'd Lee Bonus, who was at Sego, wasn't he? He was banging in goals. Only what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and look at him now.
That's what I'm saying.
Attracting interest from the water, went to Larne for 100,000 or more.
You know, it can be a springboard for some, and it can be a home for others. So, intermediate football has impressed me. The more close quarters I've been in recent years, having got back involved, you know, the standard has impressed me. There's some fantastic players. Even some of the players that played against Oxford last year, against for Bourneville and for Crewe, you know, the standard of players is very very high. You know, so it needs celebrated, and the guys are willing and able to do it. You know, lovers of the sport like ourselves are just doing that little bit to raise people up and celebrate them on whatever platform we see fit. So great.
Yeah, and they were just saying if important to follow them. So
yeah, we hit the links. We hit the
you can
links
find
all on. Yeah.
now on YouTube.
We hit the links for all the guys on on the description of the podcast whenever we get it released.
Any other parting words? Any other business, Richie? Oh, you know what I was thinking about? Our predictions for last season. We must actually check out how. I was going to say how right we were, but more than likely how wrong we were in most of them, and do another one this season.
Yeah, we'll hook up again. We'll maybe try and get together more often as a pair and get the conversations then, or get our guests in sort of as an addition. Now,
so there you are. Roll on season 23-24 then.
That's it. I do have a few people lined up. I know the likes of Goodyear locally have got a new management set up. Stevie Casey, or Connor Hawkian, I think, is his assistant or his joint manager. So we talked about them entering back into management and the revolutions that are happening at Goodyear. So, for example, that's some of the stuff that we'll be tapping into.
Just teasing us there, is he? Joint managers, though, does that ever work?
I don't know. I don't even know if that's the truth. I told Stevie I would catch up with him, and I know there are 2 or 3 games into the season now, and he'll be finding his feet. But he's brought in a lot of new, young talent, so it's interesting to hear his tales.
Nice one. Looking forward to it.
And what about you? Are you put donning the boots on again for the over 35s anytime soon?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I'll be back. just away to Wexford this weekend, so we'll be missing the. Actually, there's no game this Sunday, so it works out well.
Was rescheduled. Again, there's a busy Sunday of football with I think the Glasgow Derby on this Sunday.
That's
A
right.
lot of Super Sunday matches on. So a lot of teams just weren't able to fulfill their fixture. But we'll get you back in the midfield, sir, and see how we go.
Did we drop down the league in over 35? No, did we end up getting relegated?
No, they've restructured it again. I think there's 2 leagues. There's a Premier League and a Championship with more teams in it, so guaranteeing you more games.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and then there's an over 40s league, which is probably where I belong, but we don't we don't have a second team just yet. So 40 plus guys on the group chat, and you get seven. You get 7 for you're only your mid-30s. Tell the truth.
Well, anyway, yeah. So roll on the new season then.
Roll on the new season. A question for you: have we any new categories as we spin the wheel of Berba?
No, but I can make up new categories if spice things up
a little bit. Just so we'll do that. Put the heads together.
Maybe get a proper wheel.
Maybe we should get any of our listeners to donate a wheel or make a wheel for
us. Get McCrory Scaffolding to get us a new wheel for flip's sake.
Yeah, me.
Need to get McCrory Scaffolding on.
I know. So the last time he was on, he had more technical issues than we had. He was sitting in the car watching the kid train and getting reverbs. He's a busy man, in fairness, out there winning trophies and whatever else.
All right, let's hear from our guests. First up, it's Dean Bunting.
So Portadown BBOB manager Dean Bunting caught up with Keepie Uppies, and it was a great wee chat. Dean's done a brilliant job at Portadown BBOB. They won Mid-Ulster Division 1 last season in what was a very exciting title race in a very competitive league. Now they've jumped back into intermediate football and they're leading the way in intermediate B with 4 wins out of 4. We started off just by asking them what's been the difference over the last couple of seasons, because only a couple of years ago they finished 7th in Division 1, and they've went from finishing 7th in Division 1 to then winning Division 1 the following season, and then sitting pretty at the top of intermediate B. So we asked them what's been the difference. We also asked him what's his aims this season in intermediate B. Is there anything that he misses from his playing days, but also how his football management, because I can imagine it'd be pretty stressful. And this is the one I loved. We asked him his ultimate five-a-side. So he had to pick 4 footballing legends, dead or alive. Told him strictly he's not allowed to pick Ronaldo or Messi because everybody would pick them. So 4 legends, dead or alive, and also 1 ex-teammate. And I have to say, out of all the ultimate five-a-sides that we've done on our wheel at Berba over the last 12 months or so, I think this has got to be one of the best five-a-sides. So it's worth listening to. And if you were up against this five-a-side, you wouldn't even get a kick. So there you go. Great chat.
Well, for myself, I don't believe that it's been any one thing in particular. It's been a lot of things that sort of came together. I suppose a big thing is a few new additions, especially at the start of last season. And again, this season coming in, I think when you spoke about the 4 wins, so we've had a few new faces that's really added to what we've had. Also again, a lot of hard work behind the scenes from the committee and the coaches and stuff like that. But the committee has worked tireless off the pitch, to try and progress the club, and it's really helped us push ourselves on as well. So that in itself's a big thing, and in doing that, the structure as well, that sort of sets the tone and the scene, in around the club for the players and things like that. It's just constantly wanting to do things as professional as we possibly can, and try and always raise that bar and improving all them aspects. the club hasn't really stood still in the last 2 seasons or so. So it's been a big massive coming together of all those different wee things. But when it comes down to before, I've been asked this question quite a few times, and I do believe that the main praise out of the whole lot of it, the success has to fall at the feet of the players. What we done last season with the squad that we had, so light at times and low in numbers was just phenomenal. What we achieved with so little people. We were going some weeks with 15, 16 people. And to get to where what we done, and the slog that it turned out to be over maybe a 10, 11 month season was just unbelievable. So, if anybody had to say, I would point in the direction of which thing was the biggest contributor in that would definitely be the players. So I have to give them their praise in this bit. Well, this season is it's something that the club, the club itself, even my own ambitions was the big goal behind everything. When we first came and got things settled down at the club, was to get intermediate football. And if I'm truly honest about it, at the start of last season, it wasn't something that was sort of expected to come so quick. It just, as the season developed, and as things went on, and as we sort of kept ourselves in that position where we thought as the season went on and the further it went in and the more games we got played, this started becoming, something that we knew we could possibly achieve or would be competing to do that. But for this year in itself, stepping into that level from where we were from Division 1 into intermediate football is a significant step in itself. But to me, it's just about competing. It's about competing each week when you find coming up against these teams, that's been established in intermediate football for years now. And for me, it's just to sort of test yourself week in, week out, certain periods of football matches, certain against certain teams, who they are, and can you keep that level of consistency? So for us, the aim is to sort of try and make sure that we're competing for longer periods of the game, week in, week out, and just let's see where that goes and where it takes us. So it's been a good start, it's undeniable, with 4 wins out of 4 in the league. Now we were beat by Moneyslee in the Irish Cup, but as in regards to Intermediate B, we've got off to a smashing start. So sitting at this moment in time, we've scored the most goals and conceded the least. I believe that's the way the stat is at the minute. So if not, we're fairly close to that. So look, goals and targets change as seasons go on, and we know that better than anybody coming in from last year, and we'll just take it as 1 week at a time, as much as we possibly can, and just sort of focus on what we have to do to try and compete and be consistent in games, raise the levels of performance, see where that takes us, and see what sort of results come out at the end of it. So, and learn from it, which is a big thing as well. So we'll learn in every single week. So we'll just let that aim and the goals and targets sort of change as the season sort of takes shape a wee bit. Well, I don't know about torturing right backs. It's been a long time from I've had that privilege of being able to be part of a starting 11 and torturing right backs. But as it goes as far as missing playing football, there's probably not going to miss as much as that. To be fair, I probably always speak about it the guys that that I have involved in the squads and stuff, and try to tell them how quick football can come and go, and seasons can come and go, and things like that. But no, I miss football. Something serious, the playing side of things. Don't think you can ever really top that. But the more I'm getting involved in the management side of things, you do start to see that there is a real hunger and desire in that as well. So I'm hoping to take a lot away from the success I probably did have in my senior career at football, and try and sort of bring that into the management side of things. But no, management is very very testing. Dealing with everybody week in, week out, on all the different scenarios and problems and issues and things that can arise through football, through teams and players and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's many managers out there that can sympathise in the same way. But truthfully, I enjoy it. You're constantly learning. You're having to adapt and change your sort of way of thinking, and do all these sort of things to try and improve yourself, because it's a forever learning a curve in this football, and everybody out there will know that. A lot of tough things come about every single season, and every club has their own challenges, and everybody has their own goals. So it's really down to me as being the probably what you would call a head coach now, is it, or a manager of the football club. It's quite testing, but it's also a good challenge to have, and it's if you keep yourself motivated to do those things and keep everybody around you motivated, and the club that I'm with now at the minute makes it all that wee bit easier as well. They're really supportive. They've got the same drive. It's always going on. They're always wanting to improve. So, when you've got people running on that parallel track of wanting to go in the right places, it just makes management all that wee bit easier. So, really thankful that I've got a good squad of players, got good coaches around me, got a good committee. So, it makes that managing side of things a wee bit easier. So, no, it is. It's tough, but it's enjoyable. It's a challenge, and it's a challenge that I enjoy doing, and so I can't really have too many complaints, especially over the last season or so and the start we've had this season. So ask me at the end of the year, and we'll see if anything has changed or anything's different. Well, what a question. That's a tough one. I suppose probably if it goes by keepers, if you're talking about in a five-a-side, I'm not a United fan by any stretch of imagination, but Peter Schmeichel was probably one of the best keepers I remember in my time, so I would have to put him in nets. Maybe a wee bit of a defence type midfielder sort of player would probably be more maybe Pirlo sitting in that wee bit. There's not going to be too much defence in this team now, to be fair, so maybe Pirlo in there. Maradona, obviously one of the most exciting players, ever to grace a football pitch. The ability on the ball and things like that. So you want something like that in your five-a-side team. Probably beside him would be Ronaldinho, which was an absolute class act. Imagine having those two boys coming at you in a five-a-side pitch, and then obviously the one player I've either played with or against. I'll have to go for my old mate that helps me out with the coaching here. So, Graham Little played a lot of football together for our old team Hanover all them years ago. Man could have scored goals for fun, made my game really easy. You didn't have to lift your head too far to find that man making a wee run, so he made me look good at times. So that would be my five-a-side team. Would be Peter Schmeichel, Pirlo, Maradona, Ronaldinho, and Mr. Little up front. So that would be my ultimate five-a-side team.
A brilliant game to Keepie Uppies there from Bunting. Next up is Darren Mullen, a podcast favourite here from both me and Tats, and again another great game of Keepie Uppies. Darren, now not involved directly with any clubs, is doing fantastic things, raising money for the Southern Area Hospice.
So how do we chat with the Newry Cloppo, Darren Mullen, one of my favourite guests on the podcast. Crazy to think that was almost, I think, 18 months ago when we caught up with Darren. And we asked him a couple of questions. We asked him, how does it feel not being involved in the hustle and bustle of pre-season? What was his standout moment, the one standout moment from his 10 years as first team manager of Newry City? Does he hope to return to football management in the near future? Of course, he's a Liverpool fan, so I asked him what did he think of Liverpool's recruitment this summer, and who does he tip to win the Irish Premier League?
Yeah, it's been good not having a pre-season to worry about and all that's involved in it. It's the first time in many years that I haven't been involved in it. Should I be organising games, trying to keep players, trying to sign players and all that comes with it. So it's been nice and chilled, a couple of holidays, and definitely don't miss it. So yeah, enjoying the break from pre-season. I suppose the standout moment and the greatest memory is the night in Carrick. I've said that on numerous occasions. You know, that was the culmination of a lot of hard work and effort, and to have 4 promotions in 5 years, considering what happened, that was an amazing achievement that no one expected. So yeah, that night will have to go down as a standout one. That's one I'll definitely not forget. The chances of some Saudi billionaire taking me over to manage a team over there or coach are few and far between at this stage, so I think it's more unlikely it'd be a return to the Irish League in some capacity, maybe not managing, but the coaching end of it, it's something that I always want to get back to. You know, I needed a break. I've had that break and I'm enjoying it, and I'm no rush back, but ultimately getting back to Irish League will be something that I aspire to do. As a Liverpool fan, it's been slightly underwhelming at this stage in terms of recruitment. You know, McAllister, that was a good one initially, and then you thought there was going to follow after that. So obviously, I don't really know an awful lot about him, to be honest. But I mean, he's shown well in the couple of games we've seen, obviously, with Henderson and Fabinho going, that you didn't expect to happen. It's left us short, so you're trying to get a few more in there. But yeah, a bit disappointed that there hasn't been more available to Klopp at this stage, but time will tell. My tip to win the Irish League this year is Linfield. I think they finished last season strongly. David has signed really well. It's going to be tough because other teams have signed as well. You know, Larne have that experience of getting the first one over the line, getting the pressure off. But then there's different pressure now in terms of retaining the title. Crusaders look really good. I've been impressed with them, and again their recruitment. Gallagher's a massive signing for them, and getting young James Teelan will be good for them. But it's going to be tough. You've seen already after like 2 or 3 games, the top 6 and the bottom 6 split just naturally happens, same as last year. So it's just getting a wee bit of consistency. But if it was a bad man, I'd go for Linfield.
Up next, we have another down and Newry man, Benny Coulter.
Ex-Down legend and Cleary Celtic legend Benny Coulter caught up with Keepie Uppies, and it was great to chat to a fellow Scouser. So we asked him a few questions as well. Of course, since we were chatting to Benny, they've already played the Gerald Kennedy Cup final, which they won 4-0 against Coulter Athletic, which was a terrific win. But we did ask him, you know, what sort of the game he was anticipating ahead of that match, which was last Friday night. We also asked him what makes this Cleary Celtic side so special, because they're winning trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy. Yes, they're littered with some fantastic players in their squad, but you know, apart from that, you know, there's obviously some other factors which makes them so successful that they keep coming back season after season to win trophies and are motivated to do so. We also mentioned the Junior Cup. Obviously, it's kind of the holy grail on the you know, junior level of local football. They've won everything else, haven't won the Junior Cup. So is that a big aim for them this season? Is that their kind of primary focus? And also asked them a tricky one. I asked them what would he prefer, Down to beat Armagh in an All-Ireland final, or Liverpool to beat Manchester United in the European Cup final to win their 7th European Cup trophy. 7th. So we asked him that one. Again, great chat.
Yeah, we played Coulter in the Kennedy Cup final on Friday night. It's going to be a tough game. You know, they have a couple of young boys in that they maybe hadn't got last year. They're an experienced team as well. They've got 3 or 4 or 5 boys that have won a Junior Cup, have dominated their league down through the years. So it's going to be a step up for us, tough battle. It's not a competition we set out this year to win. We actually used it this year to get our fitness levels up for the league, because we had no pre-season, because our competitions went on that long last year. We used these games as a pre-season pre-season games. So yeah, now that we're in the final, we want to win it. You know, we've had 3 tough games, Lurgan Celtic, Newry Celtic, and now Coulter in the final. So it's a tough way to get to the final. And you know, hopefully we'll go and win it. But our priority would probably be to win the league and do well in the Junior Cup, and then the local cups. They're not the be all and end on, but they're nice to win. But yeah, anticipate a really, really tough game. The thing that makes this group of players so special is just the bond and the togetherness. Clearly, Celtic have a great committee there. They look after you. You know, if you ever need physio or treatment, yeah, they do. They really look after you. So yeah, there's a real good bond there between the committee members, the management, and the players. And we have brilliant players. You know, we have 3 or 4 ex-Irish League players: Giggsy, Rambo, Mark Hughes, boys they got there, and just real good group of players. And probably another thing, we don't have too many Gaelic lads, which doesn't really affect us when the Gaelic season starts here in Down, which is kicking off now. Probably I'm the only man that plays with the Gaelic, so yeah, that's what makes Cleary so special, and they are a fantastic group of lads and good players and boys who can put the ball in the net. So yeah, probably the only cup that has eluded us to date is the Junior Cup, and you know, we've lost 2 real good players, 3 real good players actually. Neil Barr, Zaweda Villa Rovers, Jimmy Walker and Daki Lai have moved up to 1 point. So yeah, 3 brilliant players that we've sort of lost, but you know, we have a great panel there, and if we can get in maybe 1 or 2 players, we could give the Junior Cup a good rattle. Probably the thing that's probably letting us down is the facilities about Newry. It's very, very poor. You know, whereas you go up into the next Market Hill and even in Armagh and places like that, the facilities are brilliant. Whereas in Newry here we have no 3G pitch, we have no floodlit soccer pitch. We have to use the schools. So it's probably one thing that lets us down when it comes to dark nights, that you know, you don't have the facilities that places maybe have to give the Junior Cup a good rattle. But yeah, that's probably the only cup that we haven't won. You know, we've won, I think it's 9 trophies now we've won in 2 years, which is unbelievable. And we're playing the Kennedy Cup then this Friday. That there's a wee bonus, like it wouldn't be a cup that we've been set it to try and win. But yeah, we're in the final now, we'll try and win it. Would have preferred Down to beat Armagh in an Ireland final, or Liverpool to beat Man United to win their 7th European Cup. That there one's quite an easy one. I would rather Down beat Armagh in an Ireland final. That would be just dream stuff. The brilliant if Liverpool could beat United 2 in the final. But Down to beat Armagh in an Ireland final would be unbelievable. But that's a long way off at the minute. Down are rebuilding, they're getting there. It'll take a year or 2 at least to even be competing with the Armaghs of this world, and then 2 years or 3 years after that to be competing with your Kerrys and Dublins and teams they got there. So yeah, as I say, they're building and they're building well, and Armagh are probably a year or 2 ahead of them, but yeah, they'll get there.
A massive thanks to Benny for that. And last but not least, we have Stuart Clark from I4 Sports NI, doing fantastic things in the local game, capturing all the highs and all the lows for all the local clubs.
So we caught up with the guys from I4 Sports NI, who are doing some great work showcasing the junior and intermediate scene in Northern Ireland. So I asked them a couple of questions. It was Stuart from I4 Sports NI, and I asked him what gave him his passion, what was his standout games last season, any exciting plans for the future. And we finished off with legends go dating. So he had to pick 2 footballing legends, dead or alive, he would go on a date with, and what would he be drinking.
Hi Richie and Tots, it's Stuart Clark, I4 Sport. Thanks very much for having me on the podcast. First question then, what gave me the passion for covering local football? I suppose probably 2015 kind of started to stop playing myself. Legs were starting to go, and I decided to pick up a camcorder and try and capture some of the, I suppose, local football scene. There's a lot of good players and good football being played. It doesn't really have a platform currently. So I suppose I saw this as an opportunity, and you're always hoping that you catch that wee bit of sort of film gold where you get a wonder goal on camera that otherwise nobody would have seen. I suppose it stops the nonsense in the bar after the match where, you know, the guy tells his mates and talks about the goal from, you know, 35, 40 yards, when in reality it was only 20 yards. So, second question, in terms of standout games last season that I'd covered, yeah, I mean, you could look at probably the Intermediate Cup semi-final, Rosemount Rec against Donegal Celtic. Rosemount ended up, I suppose, thumping Donegal Celtic 5-0, which probably wasn't the game would have been expected to be a wee bit tighter. And a really good performance by the home side saw them into the semis. They came unstuck on penalties against St Oliver Plunkets. Rathfriland v Crumlin Star. Rathfriland heading for the Premier Division of the Northern Amateur Football League title, losing 1-0 to Crumlin Star, who were probably the only team realistically that were going to catch them, and a very late equaliser. And just, I suppose, the reaction from management, the fans, the players and everything was a nice moment. But for me, I think the standout moment has to be the playoffs to get into the Premier Intermediate League. Coke v Oxford Sunnyside. Oxford just had to avoid defeat in that game, with the superior goal difference from the meetings between whenever both teams had played Rathfriland in the three-way playoff. So 0-0. Oxford seemed pretty comfortable probably in the game, and you know, a goal probably almost out of nowhere, you know, saw Coke progress. I'm standing out on a support above the dugout. The fans are going ballistic and hammering away at it, and my tripod with the cameras jumping up and down. So if you look back at the footage, you'll see that. But that probably has to be the standout moment. Just absolute scenes and euphoria. In terms of exciting plans or ambitions for the future, I suppose I thought it would be nice maybe to try and get round at least all the intermediate grounds in Northern Ireland. It just, you know, out of curiosity, it would be nice to be able to say that, you know, you'd visited them all and taken in a match maybe at each. Maybe a bit ambitious. I'm not sure how many grounds that's going to equate to. I suppose just trying to grow our following, and providing greater coverage of the games. You know, suppose it's an opportunity for you know, people that otherwise wouldn't really be getting a chance to see these games. I mean, quite often on a Saturday afternoon, other teams are, you know, playing their own matches. You know, it's quite nice if there's a camera there, and I suppose you've decent highlights that other people are getting to see that, because they obviously can't go to every game because they're involved in their own games themselves. Probably just continuing the one thing I've found quite interesting lately is the amount of referees that are very interested in actually seeing the match back that I'm at. Whether, you know, it's an opportunity for them to review their performance. Even referee assessors that turn up to games are actually interested in seeing particular incidents back again, so that they can share their observations with the referee and, you know, help them get better, which can only help, I think, the grassroots game. Last question then. So if they head out for a few drinks with two footballers, dead or alive, who are they, why, and what am I drinking? I probably am going to be the designated driver. I gave up booze probably about a year ago after a friend's 40th. Just had too much to drink and managed to contract COVID at the same time. So it was pretty much the hangover from hell, and had just decided, like, enough's enough. The two footballers I would go out with then, it has to be George Best, really. Hard to look past him. Prime George Best, some of the stories, reading his biography and whatever, it would be nice to be there sort of first hand. The second then is Gaza. Some of the stories that man has to tell, he's a funny guy, and some of the things that he's been up to. So yeah, I think those would be the two. What am I drinking? At the minute, hard to look past the soda water and lime for me. And they can have whatever they want. I'll even dip my hand in my pocket. So, look, thanks very much for having me on, and hopefully see you at a couple of games soon. Please, be good if people just could like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, just to help boost coverage and exposure for the talent that's out there in the local game. So thanks very much for having us on. Bye.
Keepie Uppies with Richie and Tots.